In this video, we will dive into the movie The Woman King. We will discuss the movie story, summarize the plot, and explore the cast and characters. Additionally, we will cover the production details and box office performance. Finally, we will share reviews and personal reaction. So let's begin. West Africa 1823. An opening crawl states that the kingdom of Dahomey was crowned young king Agojie. Their enemies, the empire, have attempted with the Mahi people to capture Dahomey villagers and give them to European slave traders. The Ovo have an advantage with their guns and horses. The Dahomey have a group of female Amazon warriors, the Agojie, led by General Nanisca, who are set to protect their kingdom. The Agojie filtered a Mahi village, slaughtering the soldiers before coming across the captured village and freeing them. In the morning, the Agojie mourned their death and escorted the captive back home. The warriors returned home before arrived where Gizo considered Nanisca to be his most trusted soldier. A young woman, Nevi, is brought to a man who would marry her. Even though he is older and brutish, when Nevi does not respond to the man, he slaps her and she responds by pushing him hard enough for him to fall over. He is injured and refuses to marry her. Nevi's father brings to the Agojie and offers her to the king. She is taken in by the Agojie soldier Agojie. Soldiers led by the General Agojie come across the corpse of their comrades. Agojie insults them for letting their fellow soldiers get murdered by a woman and they plan their next movie against. Chizo addresses his council to discuss the threat. Nanisca also brings up the slave trade and says it casts a dark shadow on their kingdom to be selling of their own people. She proposed that a deal in gold or palm oil for trading. Chizo tells Nanisca to show him how much palm oil she can produce before he makes his decision. Nanisca's right-hand woman, Amenza, addresses the new Agojie recruits, telling them they will fight and potentially die for their kingdom. Several women leave, but a large group, including Navy, choose to stay. Agojie then tells Navy to go, so she does and speaks personally to Nanisca. The women begin their training. Navy does not understand why they began with ropes, feeling she should start with a bladed weapon until Nanisca allows her to try on wood statue to dispute it. This sword is too heavy for Navy, and Nanisca chops her head off with one swing. At night, Agojie speaks to Navy and talks about how her mother allowed men to abuse her until she fought back. The women continue training later on by running, firing rifles, and learning combat skills. Navy plays a prank where she sets off a small explosive on one of the statues. She takes the blame for it as Nanisca chastises for her it. Later, Agojie tells Navy about her Nanisca's deaths, or considered legendary, since she rose up to her ranks after being a captive left for dead. Amenza visits Nanisca in her, but she tells her using special nuts that she sees somebody from Nanisca's past coming back for her. Outside, Nanisca watches as Navy practices her sword-wielding skill on one of the statues. The Ovo arrives at the kingdom's gates for confrontation with Gizo. When Oba Adi steps forward, Nanisca becomes horrified, as Oba Adi raped her repeatedly when she was a captive. The orderly tributes and demand 40 Agojie warriors, but Gizo only allowed 20. Nanisca tells Amenza that her vision was true. Portuguese settlers arrive in Africa, led by Captain Santo, Hero Fan Stephen, and his friend Malik. The latter, whose mother was Dahomey, when Malik says he captured native, he feels horrified. The men join the scene as the Agojie confront the Oyo. Nanisca says that they will not give them tributes and instead delivers Oba Adi, the severed heads of men. A fight breaks out between the kingdom holds a small tournament where the Agojie trainees go through an obstacle course involving thorn bushes, climbing a wall, fighting enemies, and finally dissipating one of the status. Navy comes out as the victor, and Gizo acknowledges her skill and talent. Later, while turning to Navy's wounds, Nanisca feels something on the girl's arm. She goes back to her room, and he is followed by the Amenza, as Nanisca asks her about a child that she had given up long ago, because she is beginning to suspect the Navy might be that child. Ferreira speaks to Gizo about his plans to potentially kiss Dahomey's part in the slave trade, telling him that his riches come from the slaves and without them, his kingdom would be nothing and unprotected. Gizo retorts that if his Europeans are no longer of use to him, then they are also unprotected. Agojie senses that Navy might like Malik. Malik, after watching them, speaks directly, while Ferreira was talking to Gizo. They later meet in secret, where Navy gives Malik a totem to keep him safe. When he says that he has nothing to give her, she simply takes one of his knives. Navy goes to the boat and encounters Nanisca, whose chest is her for sneaking for Malik. After arguing, Nanisca approaches Navy and tells her about the baby she gave up. She was a product of rape, and Amenza helped Nanisca hide her and give her away. Nanisca remembers cutting the child's left arm and sticking a shark tooth in it. Nanisca cuts into the Navy's arm and pulls out the tooth, confirming that Navy is indeed her daughter, and therefore the daughter Oba aids as well. Navy lives in this belief. The following morning, Nanisca and some of the soldiers keep an eye out on the Ovo camp that set fire to their gunpowder and cause multiple explosions, scaring their horses away and leaving them vulnerable. The Agojie launched an attack leading to a fierce and bloody battle that leaves many Oyo and Agojie did, and leads to some of the women, including Izoji and Navy, to get captured. On a wagon heading away, Navy finds out woman's binds have come loose, and she encourages her to roll off the cart and run back to Dahomey. While captive, Navy helps Izoji try to fix her broken arm. The young woman returning to Dahomey and informs Nanisca about the Oyo's plan to retaliate against the Agojie. Kizo promotes Nanisca but forbids her from acting any further. But she and Amensa go behind his back to rescue the others. When the European slavers come from the captive, Izoji and Navy initiate a fight against them. But Izoji is fatally shot and dies in Navy's arms, as well wails for her sister. Navy is imprisoned, but Malik goes to visit her and tells her how the captive are bound for England, and she wishes to protect her. They are employed to make her after. Nanisca leads the warriors into the Europeans' camp for an attack. They set fire to the camp and attack the men before filling the captive. Malik turns on Ferreira and flees to captive, causing them to drag him into the water, where they beat him and hold his head underwater until he drowns. Navy helps Nanisca engage in battle as she finally goes to face off against Oba Adi. The man attempts to beat Nanisca, but she overpowers him and impales him, finally killing him. Everyone returns home and Navy parts ways with Malik. The Agojie returns home with their captive, and Nanisca is confronted by Gizo. While he acknowledges that she disobeyed his order, he is thankful to her for ending the Oyo Empire and officially promotes her to the title of Woman King. Everyone cheers for her. Navy goes to pay tribute to Izoji, and she is joined by Nanisca. She then addresses Navy as her daughter. The two then go to join others to dance in celebration. The Woman King is a historical action epic starring Viola Davis, ruled our domestic box office charts in its opening weekend. Blustered by stellar reviews and positive word of mouth, the movie collected $19 million for 3,765 North American cinemas over the weekend, arriving at the higher end expectations. Independent tracking services projected The Woman King would kick off with $15 million to $18 million, while Sony estimated a double closer to $12 million. It's a good thing the film exceeds Sony's ultra conversating forecast, since The Woman King cost $50 million to produce, not including the tens of millions in marketing expenses, including a premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival. The movie was co-financed by one Guinea Prince by the Wood directed The Woman King, which tells his true story of all-female variant unit king known as the Agojie, who protected the West African Kingdom of Dahomey from the 17th to 19th centuries. Audience were receptive, awarding the film A+ cinema score. As expected, the majority of opening weekend crowds were female, with women accounting for 61% of ticket buyers between Friday and Sunday. Broken down by demography, 16% of movie viewers were black, 19% were Caucasian, 11% were Hispanic, and 10% were Asian. Given the strong reception from initial crowds, box office analysts believe The Woman King will enjoy a lucrative run on the big screen. It helps that it is not a tone on TV in the form of competition to Olivia Wilde's Don't Worry Darling, which also target female audience, opens on the big screen on September 23. Reviews are sensational, says David Agojie, who runs the movie consulting from Franchise Entertainment Research. The movies play to healthy multipliers during their holdover weeks, and trade should happen here. The Woman King easily towards our box office charts because there weren't many other high-profile movies playing in theaters. New to movie theater, Marquis Searchlight curiously undirty rider murder mystery. See how they run, starting Sam Rockwell and Saoirse Ronan opened in third place with $3.1 million from 2,400 North American theaters. The only other films to premiere nationwide, A24's horror sequel Pearl landed in close fourth with $3.1 million from 2,934 venues. Those tickets sales mark a decline from its predecessor, director T.Y.S. Tax, which debuted in March to $4.2 million and ended its theatrical run with $11 million. A24 may not care that Pearl could fall short of X at the box office. The Indie company has already announced a third chapter, Maxine, to debut in 2023. God stars in the slasher series in multiple roles, with Pearl serving as an original story about her repressed anti-hero. Pearl and X are low-budget, well-reviewed indies picks produced, written, directed, and edited by Ty West, and should not be expected to match a studio-released cross series. To hold our titles, the Arabum set Chiller Barbians and Brand Pitt's action thriller Bullet Train rounded out the top 5. Barbarian, which took the number 1 spot last weekend, slid to second place with $6.3 million from 2,340 locations in its sophomore frame. It fell only 42% from its $10 million debut, an exceptionally strong hold for a low-budget horror movie. So far, Barbarian has grossed a solid $20.9 million at the domestic box office. In fifth place, Bullet Train earned $2.5 million from 2,602 cinemas in its seventh weekend for release. A mainstay throughout the fall, the movie is nearing $100 million in North America, with ticket sales at $96 million. Bullet Train has earned $125.7 million at the international box office, taking its global tally into impressive $22 for only the second time in 17 weeks. Paramount's Top Gun Maverick landed outside the top 5 on domestic box office charts. Tom Cruise's enduring blockbuster sequel added $2.18 million from 2,604 witnesses over the weekend, boosting ticket sales to $709 million in North America. On the indie scenes, Neon's Mortgage Died Dream, a documentary of sports about David Bowie, cracked the top 10 while playing in only 170 IMAX screens. The film grossed $1.25 million over the weekend, averaging a solid $7.207 million per location. Moonage Died Dream, directed by Brett Morgan, expands next weekend to approximately 600 theaters. Another arthouse play release, The Silent Twins, brought in the $102,000 from 279 witnesses between Friday and Sunday, translating to so 365 per screen. Focus Feature is releasing the movie, which received mixed reviews since its premiere at Cannes Film Festival. Starring Orate, the real-life story centers on twin sisters who only communicated with each other. Overall, it's been a dreary fall at box office so far, with ticket sales down roughly 55% compared to 2019. That's mostly because studios have not been releasing films from major franchises. The next potential blockbusters won't be until Black Adam, October 21, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, November 11, and Avatar: The Way of Water, December 16. A rising tide lifts all boats, says Gross, but right now the tide is out. Universal Tickets to Paradise expanded at the weekend from 7 early markets to 46 terrorists, grossing a confirmed $12.6 million and taking the international and global total $15.3 million. The number 40 Oval Parker directed George Clooney, Julia Roberts' romantic comedy would have been higher and Universal proceed with release in key market UK Ireland. Instead, the film lands there tomorrow. delayed because of the royal funeral. Among opening terrorists, Australia scored best with $2.4 million, including previous topping this century chart with a 44% share of the top 10 despite competition from four other wide new openers, including Warner DC League of Super Pets landing in second place, and Universal's David documentary Monet Daydream entering in third C below. Germany also made good start with Ticket to Paradise, beginning with $2.1 million and likewise topping the country's chart. Holdover markets brought rebost dropping and estimated 22% overall. Spain delivered $580,000 in its second session, down 30%, taking total $1.9 million. Brazil with $57,000 saw a 6% rise and a total of $1.4 million. Following the September 20 UK Ireland release, remaining key markets for Ticket to Paradise include North America, France, Italy, Mexico, and South Korea, all October, and Japan November. Update: while Ticket to Paradise proved the highest grossing title at the international box office, the global chart is led by Sony's The Woman King, which topped the North America box office at the weekend with a confirmed debut of $19 million. Gina Prince played both love and basketball. Director Davis in the 1980 set action drama about a all-female warrior Arjuna that protected the West African Kingdom of Dahomey during the 17th to 19th centuries. The film originates in a story by actor-producer Maria Bello, who in 2015 visited Benin, where Dahomey used to be located, and learned the history of Agojie warriors. The Woman King premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival on September 9. The $15 million budget film is produced by TriStar Pictures and co-financed by Entertainment One Even. The first key international markets saw released in France on September 28. Update: Universal Mortgage Daydream looks on course to be a B-rare documentary box office success, given an estimated $1.6 million debut in 28 international markets. Australia proved particularly strong for Brett Morgan's David Ball doc, delivering $308,000, including previous and landing in third place. UK Ireland grossed $205,000 from an exclusive 51 site IMAX release, landing in 10th place in the tarot chart. That was enough to make Mortgage Daydream the highest new entry during a session that was relatively short of new release. In Australia, Netherlands reviews $185,000, Sweden, Denmark, Israel, and New Zealand. The film landed in the weekend box office top 5. Next key markets to release are France September 21 and Spain September 30. Update: Warner Bros. DC League of Super Pets has surged from 9th to 50th place in the Google Global chart, boosted by its arrival in Australia, where it began with a debut of $2.6 million, including previous. The animation grossed a confirmed $5.3 million in all international markets at the weekend and estimated $2.2 million in North America. Cumulative total are respectively $91.1 million and $87.9 million, combining for $178 million worldwide. The Australia release coincided with the start of school holidays, which have begun in 47% of the country and expand to 94% of the country by the end of this week. The last market to release DC League of Super Pets in New Zealand, and which welcomed the film, is Thursday, September 22. Sony and Entertainment once the Woman King topped the box office this weekend with a substantial $19 million domestic debut. That includes $6.78 million on Friday, including $1.7 million in Thursday previous, and $7.15 million on Saturday for a solid 2.7x weekend multiplier. Can it find a few bucks in Viola Davis couch to push it past $20 million when the final weekend figures come in? I would not be remotely surprised. We have got rave reviews 94% and 77.8 by 10 on Rotten Tomatoes, and an A plus from Cinema Scores plus a verified user score. For example, you must prove you saw the film of 99% on Rotten Tomatoes versus 6 by 10 on IMDb. Good faith conversation about the historical accuracy, not with this trending Don't Believe It by Cody Woman King nonsense currently percolating online. The real word came and like with Teresa. Not to be a crankly crank, but this is a rare example of audience showing up for King they claim to want. It's no secret that the regular instance of audience claiming they want non-franchise, adult sequencing, store-driven, including an or original or new to you, theatrical, and then spending their money on everything else and or punching their diversity card via periodic superhero movies or nostalgic franchise flicks has slowly become my villain original story. From Drew Barrymore's Whip It 2009 to Steve McQueen's widow and Jennifer U. Nelson, The Darkest Minds in 2018, Hollywood's minimal and hilariously overdue push towards inclusivity rents make dab into a movie-going audience that embarrassed streaming for casual viewership and begin to spend a much more significant portion of their annual movie-going dollar on a much smaller percentage of even flicks. But I disagree, as this is a day to celebrate, not castigate. Sony successful sold that Woman King as a demographical specific event movie which still offered plenty of value for anyone old enough to embarrass in brutal PG-13 thrills. It had all 5 elements of in pre-COVID times successful non-franchise adult-seeking breakout. It had a marquee director as Prince Bythewood, Love and Basketball, and Beyond Delights is justifiably a big deal to the black community. It had an all-star ensemble, Viola Davis, Lashana, Lynch and Johan, among others. An easy elevator pitch Sony sold the Agojie actioner as a real-life Black Panther. Solid reviews and the promise of a relatively good time at the movies. It's seriously but not remotely humorless and miracle of miracles audience damn well showed up. While an $18.5 million opening weekend is not a barn burner, it's a good start for a well-kind film that Sony expect to leg out over the next month or 3. It is an underrated Oscar contender, perhaps especially if it is more financially successful than the rest of the year and awards season release. Bohemian Rhapsody became a contender following its $55 million opening weekend in 2018. It's certainly good enough and aspirational and to qualify, even if I will argue it was smartly positioned as a commercial crowd pleasing a high-end on popcorn flicks first and awards movie second. That's key to this strong opening, even if you don't think it's the best thing since sliced bread. Kina Prince Bythewood's action drama is unquestionably rock solid meat and potatoes entertainment. It's an old-fashioned Hollywood programmer with new fangled demographic representation. The $15 million film needs more than just a solid opening weekend. However, A, I am expecting long legs and B, the new power revenue stream, which pushed Owen Robert Eggers, the Northman, into the profitability means that even merely okay theatrical gross can lead to the strong post-theatrical revenue. Sony is helping for legs and on par with where our coordinate thing, which opened with $17 million and leisured out to the $88 million. That Sony release was the first big female-led targeted flicks since the Love City, $105 million domestic and everything, everywhere all at once $100 million worldwide. In late March, may be releasing big movie for about women in theater instead of floating them to the streaming is a fun new way to make money. Maybe audience hungry for such fare won't just settle for comparatively inclusive superhero movies and fantasy franchises. 8 to 4 opened Troy West Buzzy and acclaimed appeal to the halfway decent $3.1 to $4 million domestic debut weekend. The low budget secret prequel to X opened on par with the $4.225 million debut of his predecessor past March. That tracks its sequel, and plenty of moviegoers were just curious the first time and decided one horror romp with Maya Gold's murders protagonist was enough for 1 year. The well-reviewed and welcome received a B from Cinema Score, which remains West in big trouble as that's why too high for an 8 to 4 horror movie. Prequel was shot right after X amid the COVID pandemic, so 8 to 4 got to make that 3 with Max Line on the way for the symbolic price of one. My wife wants to see this one, so I will catch it tonight or early next week when she can tag along. Searchlight Pictures OpenSea how to run to expectedly small-scale results. The charming but slight 1950s Votent with a boss stage murder taking place amid the cast and crew of an Agatha Christie adaptation stars Sam Rockwell and the delightful August Stripes series Ronan as the Gump shows, and the likes of Arjun Brody, Rod Wilson, and David Ovillo as the potential victims and suspects. Unfortunately, with a low profile and little buzz, the twisty little flicks earned an underwhelming $3.1 million opening weekend. Alas, meanwhile, Brett Morgan's buzzy David documentary Mortgage Dream opened in 170 theaters, many of them IMAX or PLP from halfway decent per theater average. The neon release earned $1.22 million over the weekend for a $176 million per theater average. I will catch it in IMAX when time allow later this week. Kevin Smith Clerks opened in 90 Fordham even sponsored theatrical showings. The recently reviewed 66% fresh and 60.2 by 10 on Rotten Tomatoes. Sequel earned around $570 million over the Friday to Sunday portion for a lousy 7 Monday p.m. Tri-Star Woman King stayed on track with its Sunday estimate coming in $19.5 million. It's another great example of how Sony continues to win our adult audience with non-tentpole fare. Pre-pandemic Tri-Star and Little Women in December 2019, which posted a 3-day of $16.7 million and legged out to $108.1 million, and the Sony label at the Summer Sleeper in where the Crawdad Sing, which debuted to $17.2 million and is still going now at $88.9 million domestic, $1 to $7 million. Chairman and CEO of Sony Pictures Motion Pictures Group, Tom Rodman, sent to the following celebrity email to staff about Woman King's trip. Dear colleagues, as the New Year Times said in reference to the Woman King's success this weekend, it does have to be all sequel and superheroes. Indeed, Tony and I have expressed congratulations and great appreciation to our immensely talented filmmakers Gina, Viola, Katie, and their impressive team of brilliant, diverse above and below the line talent. We would like to add such thanks to one TCG, everyone at Sony involved in the making and marketing of the groundbreaking film, and for all those inside and out of the company who shared in our relief. With a A+ cinema score, outstanding reviews, and an excellent start at the North American box office, we are well on our way. It's very gratifying to see our continued faith in creating story for a wide range of theatrical audience payoff. I am sure you all share my deep sense of pride that such a historical film bears the Sony logo. Well done all. How did Sony notch this win? As we told you, there was a trailer which dropped over the summer, first shown as CinemaCon, and the quick week of heat coming out of the Woman's King themed premiere that's where the big hooked initially 100% from criticized on Rotten Tomatoes and raised its opening projections from $13 to $16 million to what we have now. The studio also kicked off the Pix campaigns by collaborating with various leading black film festivals to bring early awareness to the film. The festival included American Black Film Festival in Miami, FL, Mexico Film Festival in Los Angeles, CA, and Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival in Martha's Vineyard. Mayor the Big Stars and producer Viola Davis participated in a clips and conversation. TriStar also hosted screening in major markets including Atlanta, Los Angeles, and New York. Key influencer and press were invited to this multi-maker market screening event. There was also a screening program with HBCU students, alumni, as well as Divine Nine fraternal organizations that included 6 markets: Atlanta, New Orleans, Houston, Charlotte, Chicago, and Los Angeles. Additionally, Sony worked with the national organization Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Inc. on a nationwide buyout program and partnered with digital platform Watch the Yard to promote the Gina Prince by Devo directed title. In programming the movie, the studio created a custom spot featuring Jennifer King, highlighting her unique position as a full-time NFL coach, Woman King, of pro football coach Jennifer King. Sony also teamed with Viacom Bit and VH1 and network talent Eva Markey, Megnan Vaughn, Rashid Forrest, and Ciara Getz to create custom vignettes celebrating the film. Ad sports for the Woman King dominated live sports across TV and digital during NFL games, UFC, PPV, sponsorship, UC Open match, playoffs and finals, college football, and WWE. A long run is expected for Women's King, at least a 3x multiplied to $16 million according to box office analysts. Among final figures, 20th Century Studios, Disney Barbarian came in $6.5 million, 38% for $21 million domestic trend day take. A24's debut of Pearl Pit, Searchlight, See How It Runs by a Hair, $3.1 to $3 million. Sunday AM after Saturday AM update. TriStar's Once the Woman King is coming in a higher than expected with a $19 million opening, the boosted by lively word of mouth of an A+ cinema score and a massive 95% positive on ComScore. Screen Engine is post-track. Friday, including $1.7 million previews, came in $6.8 million, while Saturday pulled in $7.5 million. A+ cinema scores are hard to come by, and The Woman King, it's right up there with previous awards contenders like Harriers and Hidden Figures. Comparing this black female epic to other Hollywood titles was a challenge, but that's also what made the project extremely appealing. The fact that there's been nothing else like it. As TriStar boss Nicole Brown said its taped last weekend, some guessed that Harriers $11.6 million and Viola Davis Widows $12.8 million were the right comparisons. But even going back to Thursday premieres, Woman King has already bested those numbers. No theatrical windows has been indicated yet for the Gina Prince by the Wood directed movie, which indicates Sony's commitment for the long haul critically for this movie during awards season. Should this Viola Davis produced and starring vehicle go higher, that will hang on business this afternoon when Sony is expecting the tremor to head to cinemas. That studio is estimating Sunday at $5 million. Credit is due here to Sony marketing for getting this movie to as close to a $20 million start as possible. While they dropped the first trailer to the Woman King for exhibition at CinemaCon Black in April, with that trailer being made public in July. The Davis features loaded up all its fuel the last week in its premiere at TIFF, where the Oscar-winning actress delivered an impassioned speech and the crowd in Roy Thomas Hall went wild. The social media universe for Woman King stands at $122.8 million. Strong Party channel says Reliance mix with $35.1 million views of 6 YouTube videos that have an exceptional viral repost rate of 37. One reports the analytics crop. The power for the soundtrack, which is unifying the message of the film and also playing in the trailer. Viola Davis foreign fans are aware of the film, and word of mouth will impact the on opening weekend as the film as well connected. Sad release mix is pre-weekend reports. As expected, women are the majority at Woman King at 6% with 58% over 35 and 39 over 45. Another promising sign for an older demographic that was reluctant to head out during the height of the pandemic. Black moviegoers turned out at 59%, at 19% Latino and Hispanic at 12%, and Asian at 10%. The Woman King saw its best business in the East and South, where 7 of the top turns run came from. Las Amic Barnbank at the Grovo also ranked in the top 10, along with the Country Club in Chicago. PLF screens and IMX auditionary are repairing 24%. A Woman King weekend ticket sales at this point. Each time IMAX Woman King presents at 235 gross 590,000 for the weekend. Best marks were Nice, Atlanta, DC, Dallas, Houston, Chicago, Philly, Miami, Baltimore, Orlando, Detroit, and Tampa. Below its deadline, this interview out of the with Woman King 20th Century Studios. Disney Barbarian is holding up pretty spectacularly for a horror movie. At 40%, they are typically drawn 65% in weekend 2, with an estimated $6.3 million. Disney always had a feeling the pick would thrive off all hot buzz. That's why they went theatrical with it. Curious how for this might be able to go in the long run. Peak's second weekend will bring its 10-day running total to $29. A24 horror movie Pearl, which got an extra boost with a run at TIFF last weekend after its world premiere at Venice, is expected to come in slightly lower than the $4 million debut of this predecessor X, with a $3.12 million shots in third place. The already West directed movie secured 53% guys with 79% between 18 to 34 grades, where May thought on par for a horror movie. At B Cinema score and 75% positive, 54% recommend from post-track. The Coast and Southwest were potent here, with 9 out of top 10 runs. All Alamo counted for top 10 demos over 51%, Caucasian 25%, Latino and Hispanic 11%, Black and 13%, Asian other. Below our interview with Pearl out of TIFF. Searchlight wide release of comedy caper See How They Run, directed by Tom Gersh and starring Flem Rockwell and Sergio Ronan, did not have the best reviews at 70% on Rotten Tomatoes, while Searchlight had a lot of the festival. For example, The Menu and The TIFF and the Banshees of Inisherin and Empire of Light at TIFF and Venice. This light title was not in the mix, and I hear it was just merely a hit title, not really one with any rewards, but still applause is needed for this movie going theatrical versus Hulu, as Disney has convened Searchlight to a set amount of big screen release annually. As we have been praising Portrayed this part of the pandemic, anything is better with a window over even for an OTT services, and See How They Run is at 45 days. Unless Parla has a strong Sunday, See How They Run will settle for fourth at $3.1 million at 2404. The peak falling in the range of Searchlight is projections. Honestly, it feels like See How They Run is more like the type of Sunday film so over-index versus a horror film, which is front-loaded on Friday and Saturday night. The Copper played best on the Coast and Midwest, but results were okay. Only a third of the peaks runs were over $500 on Friday, while Saturday put over a third of the peaks runs over 1K plus 42 days. Friday $1.08 million in close to $100K. Thursday previews strong results at MEC, Lincoln Square, Century City, Grove, Burbank, and his marketers like Brooklyn and Austin, even where PG-13 title for quite well. However, if there is life in the art house sector, it's coming from Neon. Brad Morg directed David Monet Daydream, which is tracking up awesome $72K per theater at 770 locations. Forward looks to be a $1.22 million opening in number 10. That's easily the best opening for a music documentary post-pandemic and the best start for a document post-pandemic on less than 200 seconds only to focus features. Roadrunner, which was booked at 900 plus sites and debuted to the $1.988 million. In the last 52 weeks, the only pick to go out on less than 200 seconds and surprise $1.2 million was Searchlight French Dispatch. A lot of that business had to do with the documentary being booked in IMAX. Also, Morgan did sold out shows that TCL Chinese theaters in LA. Bravo Movies in 77 markets is putting up excellent tickets sales in NYC, LA, San Francisco, Chicago, Cannes, and Toronto. The pick premiered in the midnight section at Cannes back in May and was the centerpiece of Neon's cinema concession. Monet's Daydream expands to 600 theaters next weekend. Another film capturing a book of screens during the dry period at theaters is UP2U Films' fat-based drama Running the Best. From directors Matty Roberts and Jimmy Loughlin, when a small-town basketball coach gets the offer of a lifetime from a larger 6A high school. He uproots his family and leaves the only home he's ever known, but soon faces opposition to his coaching methods from the school's superintendent. Friday was $195K in a 3-day. Day looks like $545K. Audience score at 86% positive on post-track and 76% were brighter than the box being made. Female faith-based crowd here 51%, 79% over 35, 58% over 45 and 40% over 55. Diversity demos were 86% Caucasian, 11% Latino and Hispanic, and 3% Black, Midwest, and South saw the most activity. Paramount has the Miramax John Hamm title Conference Flash, which is the theatrical day and day 2, booked at 516 locations. They picked $96K on Friday for what is $260K 3-day opening. While the industry, especially during the award season, calls for the need for diverse films, Focus Features has the wonderful and the emotionally moving The Silent Twins, which made its premiere in UC certain record at Cannes. This Nanisca directed drama was amazing and based on a true story of June and Jennifer Gibbons, who spent their childhood only communicating with each other and yielding brilliant creative endeavors. However, they teenage Tom open up and fall in love with the same guy, and everything goes sideways. It's a tragic Jerry story with $102K at 279 theaters at $365 theater average. The movie is not making waves on the Arthos set when it should. It's also early in the fall release schedule here. I don't even know if Focus screened the movie for academic members. The pick is truly unrated and it is over too harsh at 60% fresh. Really, this is a movie that could have made dent, and with reviews like that, I don't know if Focus will carry this Latia Royd production further into our season. I hear there would be an expansion next weekend. They hear that's not the case. It's very upsetting, and this is very original movie. Much like when Moonlight came on the scene, that deserves much more attention, support, and push. Here's our interview with Silent Twins out of canon. All of these wide release spell for a weekend that estimated at $51 million at titles, while plus 16% from last weekend is the fourth worst weekend so far. There was only been 14 weekends in 2022 that have crossed over $100 million. 3 weekends have seen all moving grossing north of 200 million plus. Next weekend will be fun as we watch how much the Harry Styles fans over-deliver on Olivia Wilde's genre movie Don't Worry Darling. The under and over is $20 million, as we already reported. Paid preview screening in IMAX where the fort is selling to trade for the larger format exhibitor. Top 10 picks of September 16-18 short updated with Sunday members. The Woman King, Sony 3,765 theaters. Friday $6.8 million. Saturday $7.15 million. Sunday $5 million. 3-day $19 million weekend 1. Barbarian 20 discount 2,340 theaters. Friday $1.96 million minus 48%. $2.7 million. Sunday $1.6 million. 3-day $6 million minus 40%. Total $20.9 million week 2. Pearl 824 2,090 35 theaters. Friday $1.3 million. Saturday $1 million. Sunday $803K. 3-day $3.124 million. See how they run. See 2,404 theaters. Friday $1.2 million. Saturday $1.16 million. Sunday $8,054K. 3-day $3.1 million. Bullet Train, Sony 2602 minus 450 theaters. Friday $720K. Saturday $1.1 million. Sunday $6,055K. 3-day $2.5 million minus 24%. Total $96 million. By hook or by crook, this Brad Pitt movie will make it to $100 million. Top Gun Maverick Par 2,604 minus 401 theaters. Friday $630K minus 35%. Saturday $1 million. Sunday $55K. 3-day $2.18 million minus 35%. Total $709 million. DC League of Super Pets 20756 minus 2087 theaters. Friday $40K minus 11%. Saturday $1.02 million. Sunday $7.15K million. 3-day $2.17 million minus 18%. Total $87.8 million. The Invitations, Sony 2,425 minus 6,922 theaters. Friday $485K. Saturday $775K. Sunday $440K. 3-day $1.7 million minus 36%. Total $21.4 million. Missions Rise of Guru 1970 theaters minus 304. Friday $260K minus 25%. Saturday $640K. Sunday $420K. 3-day $1.32 million minus 24%. Total $364 million. This is Illumination Entertainment sequel is still trying to catch up and become to the highest grossing movie in the Mission's Despicable Me universe, set aside that they are currently owned by Despicable Me 2 with $368 million domestic. Moonage Child Daydream 170 theaters. Friday $592K. Saturday $370K. Sunday $260K. PTA $72K. 3-day $1.22 million. Notables: Shiva 810 theaters. Friday $319K minus 83%. Saturday 480k dollar Sunday, 301k dollar 3-day, $1.1 million minus 76% total, $6.76 million. Friday AM, the Viola Davis produced and starring Warrior Pick the Woman King is off to a solid start with $1.7 million. After showtimes that began at 3 p.m. Thursday at 3,271 venues, the $50 million feature to financed by Troy Store and Evan is expected to make between $13 million to $16 million this weekend after a very warmly received premiere at TIFT as last Friday, and Rotten Tomatoes critics reviewed Daddy Howard at 100%. Now have settled are still great 94%. Sony was Ing Harvest and Widow. The latter are Davis action crime movies. As compares and already Woman King has beaten both those topics respectively $600k Thursday previews by 183%. The Woman King expands to 3675 theaters this weekend, and the hope is that those excellent reviews will pull in adults at a time when there is not much on the marquee. A24 also has the Tri-West horror installment, Pearl going wide at 2,900 theaters. The movie starting and co-writing by Mia Goth as expected to open in the neighborhood of its previous Chapter X, which was $4 million. Searchlight is going wide on the mystery comedy See How they run straight from Rockwell and Ronan in 2,404 theaters. Searchlight is expecting to $1 million to $3 million. It's at 72% on Rotten Tomatoes among regular ranked theaters on Thursday. Disney 20th Century Studios horror movies The Barbarians made $773k at 2,340 theaters minus 18% from Wednesday for a week's take of $14.6. Zach Greger acclaimed movie is expected to bring in a second weekend around $4.5 million. Freedom's faith-based Life Mark did $370k Thursday at $1,531 for a week's take $3.6 million. Clerks 3 made $270k plus 62% from Wednesday for a week's take since Tuesday of $1.5 million at 1089 locations. The Kevin Smith directed sequel will continue to play throughout the weekend. Bullet Train and Top Gun Maverick were fourth and fifth on Thursday with $260k and $274k respectively, now at 3,056 theaters. Bullet Train's domestic total throughout 6 weeks stands at $93.9 million, while Maverick contributes $706.8 million at the end of its 16th week. From the moment Kina Prince Biden would become a director, her strength has always resided in her commitment to love stories. In her films, sometimes twilight passions happen on basketball court occur between generations, on the later rungs of slow show business, and between immortals. They center black women carrying power and interiority while finding strength within themselves and often other black women. With her Netflix-produced films, The Old God, she continued those themes on a grander scale, but nothing in her filmography can wholly prepare you for the luscious for her latest work. In going into The Woman King, a big-haired action epic whose major challenge is being sincere and historical while fulfilling its blockbuster requirements, you meet while some hesitation, especially in a cinematic landscape, and that process broad statements on race over storytelling. You might wonder low price by the wood can shape a tale centering the Agojie warriors and all-women group of soldiers sworn to honor and sisterhood, hailing from the West African Kingdom of Dahomey. When one considers their hand in the translating slave trade, it's a working task approached by Prince Bythewood and screenwriter Dennis Stevens with gentle sensitivity, and a fierce desire to show black women as the character of their own destiny. The film began with Flare, a group of women lying at the center of a field by a campfire. They hear rustling in the tall grass. They see a flock of birds fly away on a breeze. Suddenly, a man sing Viola playing Nanisca. The world-weary angelic general emerged from the grass armed with a machete. The entire platoon then appeared behind her. The ensuing slaughter of men, the women in the village are left unharmed. It's soaked in gore and it's part of this civilian assembler mission to free their kin. Nanisca, however, loses so many comrades in the process that she decided to train a new batch of recruits. After the thrilling opening battle scene, the plot to Woman King can feel convoluted, but its success served the film blockbuster goal. A different teenager navy is offered up as a gift to the young king Gizo by her domineering father, who is frustrated with his obstinate daughter's refusal to marry her many such suitors. Navi, however, never make it to king as he influencing yet from warrior Agojie sees Navi's resistance as a trend and enlists her in Nanisca's training. Being part of the Agojie promises freedom to all involved, but not to those they conquer. They defeated or offered as tribute to the Oyo Empire, who can deal their fellow Africans as slaves to Europeans in exchange for guns. A circle of operations that the colored Nanisca wants to king to break. In the meantime, a dream has haunted Nanisca and the disobedient Nava who struggle with upholding some of Agojie Khan's strict requirements, particularly the no man part. It might be the key to what is her. Despite these clunky narrative beats, there is a twist halfway throughout that nearly causes the story to fall apart. The sheer player of the woman king resides the bond shared by these black women. They are the film's love story as they commit to each other as much as they do their grueling training. West compositions. The white man speaks in subtitled while the proud members of various African tribes express themselves in English. In The Woman King, a clear sign of where our allegiance belong in director Gina Prince's sweeping early 19th century war movie. It's an Africa set epic of the kind not seen since Zulu. Only this time, the task of defending the mother continent rightfully falls to the locals, not their enslavers. This side of the story is long overdue, roasting Western civilization's greatest shame as that it was while celebrating those who opposed it. Modern as this sounds, the movie embraces the codes of the mid 20th century's costume dramas. It's stirring but slightly story designed to stand the test of time. In her fire-set role, Jet Viola Davis leads an army of allied women warriors called the Agojie who protect the kingdom of Dahomey from outside threat. She answers directly to King Gizo. John Boyga, a man of many wives whose views towards women are left conveniently ambitious. Likewise, Dana Stevens' trading script strategically downplays the Dahomey's own practice of capturing and enslaving others, which surely would have complicated the more admirable demonstration of this historical making drama. Dubbed Amazons on account of their superior strength and berserker fighting style, the Agojie are reportedly the group that inspired Black Panther. Dora Milaje. Now they are a reliable, inspired future generation as Prince Whitewood, our director for women. Scope comes easily, coming off Netflix Globe, spanning the old god, gives these women the iconic treatment. Davis plays Nanisca, who is in the film aggressive sand film before a phalanx of well-armed soldiers, her hair fashioned into a kind of mohawk, squares visible on her face and shoulders. We have never seen the actor like this, and not for a second do we doubt Davis' capacity to take down her rivals. as Nanisca, a broad scamander, her sharp, shrill battle cry, cueing dozens of Agojie to charge forward, leaping and spinning into the combat with members of a rival village. Fight coordinator bring a fuel honking flashes to the choreography. This trade serves a specific purpose to liberate Dahomey people whom the Mahi had planned to sell as slaves, and makes the point up front that African did not take such lying down. With women clearly established as its heroes, the movie proceeds to introduce two villains. The first is Oda Jimmy, ruthless leader of the Oyo Empire, who's been organizing with their tribes against the Dahomey and who, judging by a new intense flashbacks, gave Nanisca a personal reason to want his head on a pike. The other is a white slave trader named Santo Hiro Trifine, who speaks and seek strong black laborers to bring with him back to Brazil. This character is not even remotely intimidating and seems ill-suited to the jungle, through which he carried on a sling by black porters, a shameful practice seen often in Strazan movies. We can't help hating these figures. Also, Santo is accompanied by a hunt named Malik Jordan, whose heritage is more complicated. His father was white, his mother was Dahomey. The instant Malik sets eyes on Navy, the movies opens the Disney sequel doors of romance comes to mind. It's not only equipped to see through. That said, a little sexual transition helps to underscore the sacrifice these virgin warriors must make to defend the kingdom. And the target audience likely won't mind a bit of work maze to break up the 80 minutes of conditioning Navy and the others need before the film's next big battle scene. The Dahomey won't be free until Oda and Santo have been dealt with. To make these confrontations believable, the Woman King must establish that its warriors are capable of standing up to supervised weapons. The Agojie are armed mostly with the blades and spears, where their attackers carry guns, but Nanisca's fighters show discipline as well, and one of the film's points seems to be that greatness is not given but must be earned. No wonder there's so much focus on training, term that Prince Bydewood uses to the Agojie's the other members, like Odi, a young Mahi captive who joins the cause, and the Nanisca trusted spiritual advisor Amenza, who acts as sort of conscience for the group, while she is Nanisca keep an eye off Navy from afar, step as an mentor, recognizing aspect for itself in teenager and becoming something of an influence favorite in the process. The ensemble swells with admirable characters, although this close knit group from its core. It's who we will root for when Oda returns to steal more slaves. As indicated earlier, the Agojie speak English, stylistically accented a strategic decision on Prince Bydewood's part that honored that character's heritage with making them plainly understandable to international audience as opposite to me. Gibson's approach to asking his cast to talk in Gibson's and that film is particularly is an obvious reference for the Woman King, this which is far less brutal and by extensions like effective. Revenge is a dish best served bloody, but here only Nanisca has a personal grudge against Oda. The others are soldiers simply following her lead, and who better to command with Davis is a role for which she will be recommended. Production: a Sony release of a TriStar Pictures presentation in association with Evan of a Juvi Produce. Well Entertainment Production producers executive produce Peter MCLC. The Woman King story of a battle-hardened general leading her soldiers into war has an ending with both personal and cultural depth. Set in 1823, the Woman King, led by Viola Davis, who plays the Amanda Waller blends history with fiction in the story of General Nanisca, the leader of the Agojie, the all-female unit of warriors for the West African nation of Dahomey, with the backdrop of the transatlantic slave trade. The Woman King includes many actual historical elements, along with characters unique to the film. In The Woman King, the Dahomey are in a tense rivalry with the Oyo Empire, who sell captives to slave traders in exchange for European muskets and other weapons. After rescuing a band of captives, the Dahomey are given an ultimatum by the Oyo: hand over a collection of the captive to be sold into the slavery or go to the war. With the backing of her soldiers, including her second in command, Agojie, General Nanisca makes a film Roboc of this, putting the Dahomey and the slave traders into conflict. Meanwhile, the new Agojie students' navy reveals an unexpected aspect of Nanisca's past. As an action-packed historical epic, The Woman King more than delivered with its blistering fight scene and the instant performance of its cast, including Viola Davis as the unbreakably story Nanisca. The ending of The Woman King also reveals new sides of both her and numerous other characters. Her age is the ending of The Woman King, and what is the meaning for the characters for the story. Through the Agojie defeat the Oyo in a brutal battle after Nanisca's refusal to meet their demands. They suffer a big loss when numerous Agojie soldiers are taken prisoner by the Oyo to be sold to the slave traders, with Navy and Agojie among them. Despite being commanded by Johan Boyga's King Jazo for her leadership, Nanisca is ordered not to pursue the captive Agojie. Against his orders, Nanisca leaves the village that night to bring the captured Agojie home, expecting to be working alone only to be joined by her close ally Avanza and numerous other Agojie warriors. Navy and Agojie attempt to escape while being sold into slavery, with Agojie being killed while trying to save the recaptured Navy. That night, Nanisca and her Agojie soldiers arrive at the trading post to launch a surprise attack, with Nanisca also slaying Oyo leader Oba Eti Jimmy in single combat. By the end of the battle, the Agojie stand victorious with their captured fellows saved. Nanisca and the other Agogies return to Dahomey and next day, being welcomed back despite Nanisca breaking rank from Gizo's order. Nanisca walks straight up to the Dahomey King of the Woman King characters, turning over her sword and offering her resignation as Agojie's general for violating his orders. Instead, Nanisca is commended once more by Gizo and receives an even greater honor, with the Agojie having defeated the Oyo under Nanisca's leadership. Gizo declares that the Dahomey will no longer be party to the translating slave trade. Nanisca is bestowed the rare little title of the Woman King for her leadership and bravery in battle. Throughout The Woman King, Nanisca has a complex relationship with Navy after rescuing her and other captive from the Oyo, initially taking the orphan Navy under her wing to be trained as an Agojie warrior. Nanisca discovers a shocking truth: Navy is her daughter, born from Nanisca being raped many years earlier, with Nanisca having given up Navy to keep her secret from the Agojie. Along with the shared theme of past trauma and pain from director Gina Prince by the Woods, the old guard, this makes things increasingly tense between them when Nanisca reveals this secret to her, with Nanisca warning Navy from the Agojie's celebrates vows as he sees her getting closer to young Brazilian businessman Malik Jordan blogger. The Agojie's victory in the final battle ultimately reshapes the perspective of both Nanisca and Navy. As the Agogies return to the Dahomey, Navy silently kills firewall to Malik, choosing to accept the life and vows that comes with being an Agojie's warrior. After being crowned the Woman King, Nanisca finally rides herself for the pain of the rape and experience. When she was young, the horrific experience she went through being a burden neither she nor Navy should ever to carry. The mid-credit scenes of The Woman King also shows Sheila Artem Agojie's warrior Amenza performing a ritualized memorial ceremony alone for Agojie. On a basic level, Amenza is paying her respects to fellow warriors as an Agojie who gave her life to save another. However, the scenes also ties back to apparently traumas Nanisca experienced earlier in the film that she cannot understand, which relate to her relationship with Navy. As a general of the Agojie, the otherworldly Saturn Nanisca finds peace from her traumatic past by with the daughter she once had to given up. Amensa ritual is a tribute to these seemingly cosmically unlikely turn events and Agojie's sacrifice in helping it come to pass. With the help of Agojie's heroism, Nanisca and Navy can start new anew. This Woman King likely has one of more emotional ending of 2022 September theatrical release. It is not clear whether Nanisca and Navy inform their fellow Agojie that Navy is Nanisca's daughter or choose to maintain their secret through Amensa is aware after seeing Nanisca come to that realization. Nanisca having given away Navy after her birth was heartbreaking act she did out for fear of being excommunicated. Nanisca probably fearing she would not be believed in revealing that she was raped. However, Nanisca and Navy choose to get forward. They each have been given renewed belief in themselves and what they mean to each other. Navy, having been welcomed into the Agojie, is determined to become the best warrior she can do, and has greatest confidence and awe in realizing that her mother is guiding her. Nanisca is also no longer weighted down by her long-standing pain with Navy back in her life. Against all odds, a heartwarming story for audience to see this fall, as Nanisca and Navy join the Agojie in their celebratory victory dance at the end of The Woman King. Each looks to the other with both family, love and various bond, a combination that unites them forever. The Woman King is now streaming on Netflix. Thanks for the streamer first window deal with Sony Pictures, and that means if you don't get a chance to catch the buzzy Viola Davis historical drama about women warriors who protected their West African kingdom in the 19th century, well, now's your chance. Directed by Gina Prince by the Wood with a screenplay by Dana Stamps, The Woman King stars Davis as the fire splitter of the Agojie, the all-female warriors unit that protected the West African kingdom of Dahomey during the 17th to 19th century. Too many of the characters and plot points were invented for the sake of telling an entertaining Hollywood story. The Woman King based on the true story of the real life of Agojie's warriors. Residing comfortably in the sweet spot between historical drama, action, and entertainment is The Woman King, a thrilling epic starring Viola Davis, The Suicide Square, Lashana, Lynch, No Time to Die, and Johan Boyega, the Star Wars sequel, written and directed by Love and Basketball mastermind Gina Prince by the Wood. King is centered on General Nanisca, the leader of the tribe of legendary female warriors called the Agojie from the African Kingdom of Dahomey. They are led by the newly appointed young king Gizo, Johan Boyega, who Nanisca and the Agojie helped come to power. But when the tribe utilized the slave trade to achieve power, Nanisca convinced Gizo to stop trading other Africans to the Europeans. This, of course, causes the kingdom of Dahomey to become a threat not just to the Europeans but also the rival African tribe, the Oyo, led by the Kiowa. Newly appointed General Oba, played by Jimmy, one girl away. Meanwhile, a new crop of young girls are being trained to be the new generation of Agojie warriors, with Nanisca taking a shine to Navy. who she sees as reminiscence of herself, while the woman king refers to itself as inspired by real events. What it lacks in the historical accuracy, it makes up in terms of being a big budget historical epic with diverse representation both in front and behind the camera. After all, it's certainly not the first time historical figures. After the credits roll, you may find yourself asking, what does the ending of The Woman King really mean? Are there possible sequel that could be produced from this story? What were the themes and how well were they implemented by the end? Read on for spoiler heavy breakdown of the film's intriguing final moments. It's true that historical epic rarely get sequel, however, they are not unheard of. There was Robert the Bruce, a sequel to Braveheart with each other and just reprising his role as the titular Robert the King even of might not be canon. There is also the upcoming that gets scrapped and now has a screenplay from Peter Craig. Regardless, even if they want a sequel of historical epics, there is nothing saying that it could not happen eventually. There are many ways Woman King could produce a sequel based on how the film ends. It's even easier than the other examples mentioned, since Viola Davis Nanisca survived at the end, unlike the other two. For instance, there could be other would-be conquerors in Africa trying to attack the Agojie and the Dahomey kingdom. Furthermore, there could even be possible European retribution which historical happens later on its real timeline. Depending on the box office success of the film, there is no reason there could not be further adventure of General Nanisca and her various Amazon women. It could be particularly interesting now that she is king, and it could even deal with her trying to manage both her royal and political duties in contrast to her military and soldierly ones. It could harken back to classic stories of heroes becoming king, like this aforementioned about the king, or even classic stories such as Conan the Barbarian and becoming king in the latter books. Female empowerment is major theme made clear for the very premise itself, but it goes much deeper than that. There is a derived name of the trope in modern cinema called Trinity Syndrome. Essentially, it's when strong female characters are unserved or even killed to give the male hero something to surpass or avenge. Things have gotten better lately, and this film mostly comes out unscathed instead of having a capable, powerful female character be a sidekick to the less capable male hero. The film follows Viola Davis, General Nanisca throughout the entire film. She is the focus of the story. She defeats the main villain in the climax. She has the emotional arc until she saves the day and becomes the woman king by the end. The film also reiterates the theme of female improvement by having the female characters, particularly the Agojie warriors, work together as a team, building each other up rather than trading up each other. Every rivalry between Navy and OD, Orange and New Black during training is a short-lived, used to fuel their eventual trust, and the ending mostly sticks the landing up, showcasing the celebrating the theme of female empowerment. The Woman King, directed by the Gina Prince by the Wood, tells us the story of an all-female military forces that changed the courses of history and brought glory to the kingdom of Dahomey, written by Dana Stevens and Maria Below. The narratives makes us privy to the irony of the situation. The Agojie was probably the most dangerous force to have ever existed, but they too were victims of a society there too had been oppressed at some point in their lives. The Woman King makes his privacy reflect that how society felt that being oppressed was an interesting part of being a woman. Nobody felt that there was anything wrong if a woman was beaten, abused, or disrespected in any other passive manner. Even the one who were feared by did not raise a finger against the regressive traditions and customs. The bigger problems was that women felt that they were meant to be bound and, in a way, become their own oppressors. So let's see how a woman who was considered the unworthy by her own kin kindled a fire that had the potential to run the system upside down and bring about a change in our segment ideologies. Gizo, a young and charismatic individual, became the king of the Dahomey Empire. Unlike his predecessors, he wanted to bring about a change in the temperament of the people of his kingdoms. The Oyo Empire had always tried to oppress the kingdom of Dahomey for 90 years. The Dahomey empires adhered to the commands of the Oyo. Their villages were plundered, their men were killed, and their women were abused, but still, the Oyo wanted to exploit them more. The Dahomeys have started raising their voices against the operations. They had realized that unless and until they had the coverages to fight for their own cause, they would not be able to put an end to the Oyo had found a new ally in the Mahi tribe. The Oyo started raiding the Dahomey villages and they sold the captives to European colonizers. The European slavers played from both sides and somehow made the African kingdoms believe that in order to maintain peace and ensure their own safety, they need to be engaged in the slave trade. Gizo wanted to put an end to slavery. He did not want to sell his own people to destroyed Europeans, but he had to maintain the economy of his kingdom. He had to find a way to bring money in and provide for the people. He did not know what else he could trade. The Oyo Empire was spending a lot of resources in building its army. The Oyo army had the latest weaponry. They had guns and horses, and Gizo knew that he was in no state, no wage war against them. The Dahomey empires might not have been as equipped as their enemy, but they had something that was as little and as dangerous as an occasion. And for her father, Navy's father gave her up to the king because he was fed up with her unruly attitude. Navy and hear stories about the Ajojies. She aspired to be a part of them one day. She did not know what sacrifice she would have to make in the process or what challenge she would have to face. When her father abandoned her, she started living her dream. She started her training to become an Agojie. Agojie, an accomplished fighter, was the first Agojie she had an interaction with. Agojie taught her little lessons that helped her become an adept figure fighter. Navy eventually realized that almost every Agojie woman a painful past. Some were trying to run away from it, and some were waiting for the opportunity to avenge their loss. Navy questions the face and means of the Agojie. She asked Nanisca why their mere counterparts were allowed to keep wives and lead a normal life, Whereas they were forced to live the life of recluses. Nanisca knew that Navy was a born fighter, but she also saw that she was not somebody who would obey orders if our conscience did not allow it. Navy had a problem with authority. Finally, the day came when the aspirant had to showcase their skills in front of the king and pass the test. Navy had worked day and night for it. She had put her heart and soul into her training. Navy finally became victorious. She completed her task before anyone else. The king honored her by giving her a Nanisca went to congratulate Navy after the ceremonies were over. She was happy that she was proved wrong. She saw a great fighter in Navy and know that she was meant for greatness. Nanisca has a secret and Navy is taken captive. When General Agojie came to the Dahomey to collect the tribute, we realized that Nanisca knew him far before. It felt like that Agojie got reminded of her past traumas by like at home. Long ago, the Oyo forces had taken Nanisca as a prisoner. Nanisca was abused and tortured in captivity. She was raped by multiple men, but somehow she managed to survive. Nanisca realized that she was pregnant. She gave birth to a baby girl. Nanisca made a cut on the back of her left arm and then put a shark's tooth inside the skin. After Nanisca had gotten to know that Navy was an orphan, she realized that she was her daughter. Nanisca told Navy about it and checked her left arm, where she found the shark's tooth. Navy could digest the fact. She felt overwhelmed. Navy had always looked up to Nanisca, and she dreamed of becoming like her one day. Well, what she did not know was that her role model was her own mother. Two European slaves had come to the Dahomey, and Navy had taken a liking to one of them named Malik. Even after Nanisca had strictly prohibited her from meeting any man, Navy wanted to meet Malik after attending the ceremony of the blood oath. Malik told her that one Oyo had combined forces with other tribes and were planning to attack Dahomey. Navy gave the information to Nanisca, who decided to take to Oyo by surprise and attack them before they reached their kingdom. The enemy forces were obliterated by the Agojie. Obe and his men could not witness the right of the all-female force, whose might they had greatly undermined through the Oyo retreated mine in a way accepted. Their defeat they took a lot of injured. Agojie with Mem, Agojie and Navy were among those who were taken captive by the Oyo. Nanisca was made the Copitijo by the king. The king wanted to honor her for what she had achieved. The Oyo forces had been defeated, and Gizo wanted to celebrate that. But Nanisca had something else going on her mind. She wanted to go and find her daughter. Maybe she wanted to rescue her and bring her back. Gizo did not think that it was sensible to send his soldiers to die in enemy. He told Nanisca to be his regent and made him forget about those who had been taken as captive. Meanwhile, Navy, Agojie and others made a plan to escape from the clutch for the Oyo army. General Obi had put the female prisoners up for actions. The Europeans were willing to pay a huge sum of women. Navy's escape plan failed terribly. Agojie lost her life while trying to save Navy. Navy would also have been killed if it had not been for Malik. The man was in love with Navy. His own mother belonged to the Dahomey Empire and he too felt connected with their cause. Malik bought Navy from the Obe and took her into his custody. Nanisca decided to disobey the orders of the king. She decided to go and rescue her daughter. Amenza wanted to stop her, but Nanisca had made up for her mind. Nanisca wanted to face her own demons. She had lived in denial for quite some time. She wanted to embarrass her past because she was tired of running away from it. She knew that there was a possibility that she would become out up for enemy. Alive, Nanisca was ready to die on the battlefield, but she was not ready to live with regards all her life. Nanisca left for Ode, and a lot of other Agojie and Majan soldiers followed her into the battle. Meanwhile, Chantal tried to take advantage of Nanisca's absence. She had always disliked the female general. She had always felt insecure in her presence. Shanti knew that her husband, the king, always favored Nanisca, as she had played a critical role in making him king. She was disappointed when he king announced Nanisca would be the woman king, and she had expressed her grievance about the same. The feast, the official ceremony where Nanisca was going to be given the later publicity, could not be postponed, so it was decided that Shant would be made woman king. The king woman knew that it was a suicide mission, and the chance of his general returning from the battle were very slim. But Nanisca did return. She brought back all the prisoners with her. Nanisca killed General Obey and took her revenge. The mother and daughter were once again reunited, though the king was still angry with her for not obeying his commands. He reinstated her in the position of the woman king. Nanisca deserved to be kept dojo. It was her ability to withstand adversity and had brought glory to the Dahomey kingdom. In the end credit scenes, we saw that Amenza was performing a ritual and honoring the memories of the fighters who had sacrificed their lives for their kingdom. Though Oyo had been defeated, Nanisca noted there were a lot of their other things that needed to be dealt with. There was a lot of enemies between the wives and Nanisca. She noticed Shant and influenced the king. Shanti was an aristocrat who had a superiority complex, and she believed that Nanisca was not worthy of holding such an important title. Maybe if there is a sequel, we will get to witness internal politics in the Dahomey kingdom. The ego of the European slavers could have been hurt after many of their men were killed by the Agojie. Maybe they would also come back to take revenge in the sequel. The mid-credit scene was a reminder of the huge loss that the Agojie had to bear in order to protect their kingdom. It was the dawn of a new era of the Dahomey kingdom, and they were on the path to becoming one of the most influential kingdoms in Africa. The woman king ending explained in Nanisca able to rescue Navy. What does the mid-credit scene signify? The Woman King, directed by Gina, tells us the story of an all-female military force that changed the course of history and brought glory to the kingdom of Dahomey. Written by Dana Stevens and Maria Bello. The narrative makes up to privacy to irony of situation. The Agojie was probably the most dangerous force to have ever excited, but the two were victims of a particular society. They too had been oppressed at some point in their lives. The Woman King makes us privy to the fact that how society felt that being oppressed was an part of the being woman. Nobody felt that there was anything wrong if a woman was beaten, abused, or disrespected in any other passive manner. Even the ones who were feared by the all did not raise a finger against the regressive traditions and customs. The bigger problem was that women felt that they were meant to be bought and in a way become their own oppressors. So let's see how a woman who was considered unworthy by her own kin kindled a fire that the potential to return the system upside down and bring about a change in circulative ideologies. Gizo, a young and charismatic individual, became the king of the Dahomey Empire, and unlike his predecessors, he wanted to bring about a change in the temperament of the people of his kingdom. The Oyo Empire had always tried to oppress the Kingdom of Dahomey. For 90 years, the Dahomey Empire adhered to the commands of the Oyo. Their villages were plundered, their men were killed, and their women were abused. But still, the Oyo wanted to exploit them more. The Dahomeys had started raising their voices against the operations. They had realized that it was useless, and until they had the courage to fight for their own cause, they would not be able to put an end to the torrency. The Oyo had found a new ally in the Maki tribe. The Oyo started raiding Dahomey villages and they sold the captives to European colonizers. The European slavers played from both sides and somehow made the African kingdom believe that in order to maintain peace and ensure their own safety, they needed to indulge in the slave trade. Gizo wanted to put an end to slavery. He did not want to sell his own people to this Sirot European, but he had to maintain the economy of his kingdoms. He had to find a way to bring money in one and price provided for the people. He did not know what else he could out trade. The Oyo Empire was spending a lot of sources. This is a spoiler-free review of The Woman King, featuring interviews with the cast from world's premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival. Strong black woman, she is the epitome of resilience and perseverance. She is an overachiever with an infallible moral compass. Her strength comes from having to overcome unimaginable adversity and would break anyone else but not her. It is her most defining characteristic. We know this woman well, not just because she shows up in TV and films regularly, but because many of us have had to be a version of her in order to succeed in our workplace or to just survive in the literal general bullshit of being black and woman in this world. The rejection of this trope has manifested in the push of softness. It's why soft black girl summer has been trending all season. Once a trend has been the default, the requirement and expectations to be soft is a quiet defense of a burden we never asked for. Some black woman to say that's enough resilience of for me can be revelation and exhale of freedom from the presumption that our worth is measured in how well we endure operations, that our only value in our high tolerance for suffering. On the surface, The Woman King seems like another addition to this strong black woman canon. The film, directed by the Gina Prince by the Wood, tells the story of some of the fiercest warriors in history. The Agojie, the real all-women group of soldiers tasked with defending the West African Kingdom of Dahomey, now been against colonizers and slave trade and the Oyo. Their military rivals, of course, they are strong in the opening battle scene of the film. Lashana Agojie takes down her opponents by going his eyes with her nails. With a piercing relaying career, das warriors race into war with sharpened machetes and no fear. We have never seen black women be this strong on film. The closest we have come in the Milaji in Black Panther, a fictional army that was based on the Agojie, and yet as physically adept and mentally true as the Agojie are, there are also full human beings who experience other emotions than fortitude. Their strength, in fact, is a basic requirement of their job, not a replacement of personality. Strength has been weaponized against black women. Sheila Etim, who plays Amenza, an Agojie lieutenant, told Unbothered on the red carpet of the premiere of The Woman King this past weekend in Toronto. As much as it is positive to have it at times, it's also something that has been placed upon us to prevent us from having the agency to feel anything else and to anything else, she said. What I love about this film is that it says you can be all of those things within the spectrum of the trend. You can also be vulnerable, you can find the trend on others. I think that's really important for us to see because it's a strong black woman trope is still prevalent out there and want people to be able to understand that they can feel the full spectrum of what it means to be a human being. Amensa is General Nanisca's right hand, and that full spectrum is on display in the warmth and humor she brings to the warrior. Some of the film's most beautiful moments are between Amensa and Nanisca, sisters bonded by circumstance and shared grief. You never doubt how strong they are, even in their softest moments. Contrast that tenderness with the competitive. On the battlefield, Amensa shares with Agojie, Atim and Lynch's chemistry is dazzling, and you have got some of the most fully realized and endearing sporting characters ever to grace the big screen. So trend has been weaponized against black women. What I love about this film is that it says you can be all of the things within the spectrum of the trend. You can also be vulnerable, you can find the trend in others. Sheila, Atim, Nanisca, the Agojie reserved yet audacious leader, is Viola Davis at her finest. Somehow, even after literally changing the face of television, as analyzes catering and leaving us in awe after multiple Oscar nominated snot cry inducing performance, Davis has managed to outdo herself. The performance is surprisingly more subdued and soft than people may have been expecting, and the accent, while slightly unsteady at times, that lesson is apparent in the tender storytelling, The Woman King, which is much as emotional drama about sisterhood and chosen family is at is a popcorn movie designed to allay cheers and tears from its audience. There are ad- audible sobs, gasps, and woes during the premiere. It succeeds at both even at time when the film leans into the territory praised by the Wood's skill as director saves the film as clunky storylines. One romantic subplot involving a brachical man is sure to have Twitter timelines in shambles, and the thrilling choices they make visually also strengthen the story. Prince by the Wood set out to deliver a timeless, epic historical fantasy action adventure with black woman but better, and she succeed. There's sure to be hated discourse in the coming weeks over the film's historical accuracy and how it tackles Dahomey involvement in the slave trade. The movie does not shy away from the reality of this history at all, but if you are able to lean into the fact that this is a fantasy based on true events and not the documentary, the Woman King will win you over as fast as Agojie can slice the throat of an Oyo. The action is brutal, rousing, and precise. Each actor and code grueling months of training and battle sequences are some of the best I have ever seen. The Woman King is trimmed because it treats its leading character with the care, compassion, and complexity so rarely afforded to black women on screen, but also simply because it's big, crowd-pleasing, action-filled, feel-good blockbuster. I have seen the film twice now, and each time I had fully body chills watching that many dark-skinned black African women thrive on screen. Let me tell you something, Boyga said, grinning on the red carpet, squaring up like a boxer ready to deliver a knockout punch. On this film, level had to be over 85%. It's not just black women, it's dark-skinned black women who have not had the opportunity to this, to be given the main center stage, and for me, there's something special, he said. I came from a black woman, so for me to see a project that highlights black women in this way, but also highlight black women with talent, the actual skills and ability to do this is something special, and I can only says promising for this rest of industry and the future. Emphasis of black women with skills, talent, and ability is key here because when a film like this comes along, people are quick to reduce it to just notch onto belt of exhausted representation, conversation, or a win of diversity, instead of a piece of art that deserves to be treated, praised, or criticized like any other films. In this case, Prince Viola Davis and the rest of the cast and crew of the Woman Killing pulled off an incredible feat. They look a story 6 years in the making. Yes, the idea was in the works before Black Panther, a story about dark-skinned black woman warriors that stands in stark contrast to Hollywood's typical colorist pre- preference and delivered in a movie that celebrates the very thing this industry has told us does not exist in black women: complexity, depth, beauty, and softness. Two European slavers had come to Dahomey and Navy and taken a liking to one of them named Malik, even after Nanisca had strictly prohibited her from meeting my man. Navy went to meet Malik after attending the ceremony of the blood oath. Malik told her that the Oyo and combined forces with other tribes and were planning to attack Dahomey. Navy gave the information to Nanisca, who decided to take the Oyo by surprising and attack them before they reached their kingdom. The enemy force were by the Agojie. Obe and his men could not withstand the right of all female forces, whose might they had greatly undermined. Though the Oyo treated and in a way accepted their defeat, they took a lot of injured Agojie with them. Agojie and Navy were among those who were taken captive by the Oyo. Nanisca was made by the king. The king wanted to honor her for what she had achieved. The Oyo forces had been defeated, and Gizo wanted to celebrate that. But Nanisca had something else going on her mind. She wanted to go and find her daughter. Now she wanted to rescue her and bring her back. Gizo did not think that it was sensible to send his soldiers to die in anywhere. He told Nanisca to be his reign maid and forget about those who had been taken as captives. Meanwhile, Navy, Agojie, and others made a plan to escape from the clutches of the Oyo army. General Obe had put off the female prisoners up for actions. The Europeans were willing to pay a huge sum for the woman. Navy's escape plan failed terrible. Agojie lost her for life while trying to save Navy. Navy would also have been killed if it had not been for Malik. Nanisca sought to disobey the orders of the king. She decided to go and rescue her daughter. Amanza wanted to stop her, but Nanisca had made up her mind. Nanisca wanted to face her own demons. She had lived in Daniel for quite some time. She wanted to embarrass her past because she was tired of running away from it. She knew that there was a possibility that she would not come out from enemy. Nanisca was ready to die on the battlefield, but she was not ready to live with regrets all her life. Nanisca left for and a lot of other Agojie and Megan soldiers followed her into battle. Meanwhile, Shanta tried to take advantage of Nanisca's absence. She had always disliked the female general. She had always felt insecure in her presence. Shanti now that her husband, the king, always favored Nanisca, as she had played a cruel role in making him king. She was disappointed when the king announced that Nanisca would be Cobrijo. For example, the woman king and she had expressed her giveness about the same. The feast, the official ceremony where Nanisca was going to be given the little publicity, could not be postponed, so it was decided that Shanti would be made the woman king. The king knew that it was a suicide mission, and the chances of his general returning from the battle were very slim. But Nanisca did return. She brought back all the prisoners with her. Nanisca killed General Agojie and took her revenge. The mother and daughter were once again reunited. Thought King was still angry with her for not obeying his commands. He resigned her to the position of the woman king. Nanisca deserved to be a co-petition. It was her ability to withstand adversity and had brought glory to the Dahomey kingdom. In the end credit scene, we saw that Amansa was performing a ritual and honoring the memories of the fighters who had sacrificed their lives for their kingdom. Though Oyo had been defeated, Nanisca knew that were a lot of other things that needed to be dealt with. There was a lot of enmity between the wives and Nanisca. She knew that Shanti could influence the king. Shanti was an aristocrat who had a superiority complex, and she believed that Nanisca was not worthy of holding such an important title. Maybe if there is a sequel, we will go to the witness internal politics in the Dahomey kingdom. The egos of European slavers could have been hurt after many of their men were killed by the Agojie. Maybe they would also come back to take revenge in the sequel. The mid-credit scenes was a reminder of the huge loss that the Agojie had to bear in order to protect their kingdom. It was the dawn of a new era of the Dahomey kingdom, and they were on the path to becoming one of the most influential kingdoms in Africa. In the end credit scenes, we saw the Amansa was performing a ritual role in honoring the memories of slain fighters who had sacrificed their lives for the kingdom. I had been defeated. Nanisca knew that there were a lot of their things they needed to be dealt with. The king knew that it was a suicide mission, and the chances of his general returning from the battle were very slim. But Nanisca did return. She brought back all the prisoners with her. Nanisca killed General Agojie and took her revenge. The mother and daughter were once again reunited. Though the king was still angry with her for not obeying his commands, he reinstated her to the position of the woman king. Nanisca deserved to be a co-petition. It was her ability to withstand adversity and had brought glory to the Dahomey kingdom. In the end credit scene, Viola Davis would have made an incredible silent movie star. When she fixes her eyes on someone in close-up, dialogue becomes completely superfluous. She can star with flowers, anger, or inspect with barely controlled emotions. In Woman King, she gets to show off a whole arsenal of impressive fighting movies, lashing out her enemies with swords and knives and a variety of mixed martial arts. But I found myself marveling most of the incredible things she can do with her eyes. They are her greatest weapons. In The Woman King, she plays Nanisca, a general who commands an all-female platoon of warriors that defends the West African Kingdom of Dahomey in the 1920s. Dahomey really existed, and she did Nanisca's army, known as the Agojie, who live in monk-like existence behind the walls of the king palace. They refrain from marriage, sex, and motherhood, pleading their loyalty instead to their king and to their sister in arms. There are some mystical figures in this film, including Dahomey King Nanisca serves Gezo, but the movie makes so on-screen claims to truth. There is no title card, the announcement is based on a true story, or anything like that. The elements are pretty obviously fictional even to layman, as the film unfolding like another of the layers. With entertaining action movies, Triple R, it uses real events as a jumping off point to help tell on event details, flagged with real history supported by fanciful storytelling. In other words, it's a movie, not a documentary, and a fully existing one of that. Davis Nanisca does most of her cleared and members of the Oyo Empire. The domestic rivals of control of the region. Enemies captured by either side in their ongoing conflict are dead then sold to the Europeans in the slave trade. Objectives Nanisca disturbs and tries to convince King Gizo to end. With the Oyo massing trade forces near the Dahomey border, Nanisca begins to train a new group of potential Agojie warriors, including the hand-strong navy, who is given to the king by her father after he refuses his marriage proposal. Navy is a brave and wants to fight for her king, but she also struggles to follow orders, which Nanisca insists is one of the keys to Agojie's success in battle. Alone she were weak, alone she were killed, or worse, she wants her as Navy grows her soldier. Nanisca contends with palace intrigue as Gijo's many wives joking have control of their husbands, who holds the power of appoint one of them, woman king, supposedly a complementary monarch with power equal to his own. Nanisca persists in lobbying